Yo, peace, peace. Abargani, Islam, Salam, Hetepu, Rahubat. Gino Laku Ninani, Chief Noble Bandele is back in the building. And today we're going to be building. We're going to be dealing with our free national letters, or excuse me, our free national lessons, part 3. Going to deal with some spirituality and some of our civil law. Okay. A lot of people are, doing a lot of this sovereign citizen stuff. So what I'm going to show you today is what's going on with that law, what's going on with sovereign citizen philosophies. All right. And like I said, we're going to start out with some spirituality, just to break the ice. But we're going to get into this sovereign citizen stuff real heavy, right? Try to break some of these misconceptions and trying to show you guys what not to do when you're dealing with the police and when you're dealing with the court. And, truthfully, a lot of things that I did back in the day, I've learned from them. So, I got to upgrade y'all on the same information. So before we get into any of that, y'all, please smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. Most people who watch this channel are not even subscribed. So please take your opportunity to subscribe and go back and check out some of our old videos, right? So today, our video is going to be sponsored by our book called The Holy Ancestral Covenant. And since we are talking about spirituality, this book is our spiritual book for the temple. So if you guys are part of the temple or wanting to be part of the temple, check this book out. Go get the book. You need this book as a protection in law, right? We all have to, I'm not going to go into my whole spiel, but that religion, versus spirituality in the courtroom is a whole different thing. So like what I got right here, religion is legal, spirituality is personal. So it's nothing about one or the other. You need both of them. You need religion to be organized. Your spirituality is a personal relationship with the spiritual world, right? Check. So with that being said, what I want you guys to do is check out the Holy Ancestral Covenant. You can get it on indigenousmoors.org or you can get it on Amazon. All right. So y'all look at it. Y'all can get them on indigenousmoors.org or, like I said, Amazon. It's our spiritual book. All right. So with that being said, let's get into this before y'all get bored. You know what I mean? And I ain't trying to get y'all bored, but I want to start this off with something that was funny. I don't know if you guys seen like these AIs, like this AI stuff is going crazy, but I like what they're doing and what they're showing. So what I'm going to do is show you this video. This is going to start off. Like I said, we're going to get into it because, if y'all watched any of my other videos, y'all seen how we talk about hoodoo being the ancient creed of our forefathers in America, right? So if y'all haven't seen the video, go check that video out. But I did want to just show this video real quick, you know what I mean? And just, it's funny too, the AI is crazy. So check it out. And to do it like that.
Is demonic. Y'all out here worshiping demons.
We honor ancestors, baby. You just mad because yours can't stand you.
The next time you ask me for something, man, I better see some collard greens, neck bone, and rice on that altar. Damn. Heifer, don't you make another damn love spell. Ain't you tired of him knocking your head between the washer and dryer? Jesus, don't try.
Stop doing money spells and get a damn job. Ain't no spirit fixing all your broke-ass savings account.
The next time you ask me for something, I better see some collard greens, neck bones, and rice on that altar.
Hoodoo is a closed practice. Don't you fuck around and find out.
Hoodoo voodoo is demonic. Y'all out here summoning spirits instead of seeking the Lord. And you out here summoning wigs that don't match your neck. So what's really demonic, sis?
Oh man, I had to show that yo. It's crazy out here, right? But what I liked about what they're saying, is this is our spirituality. Here at the temple, we are about ancestral acknowledgement, and so you got the Christian saying, you guys out here worshiping devils, right? Not really realizing, understanding what the ancestors really are, right? So, like I said, us spiritual minded brothers and sisters who want to go back to the creed of our ancient forefathers, as the Moorish saying, when we really look at it, what is Islamism? Is it going back to our ancient creed of our forefathers? And what are our ancient creed of our forefathers? Right? So I'm just going to leave it at that. All right. So let's go to the next video real quick. We're going to continue that because we're talking about ancestors versus angels in a sense, right? So let's look at this video. Let's get to it. So you guys can get a better, I guess, overstanding of it. Let me share this. All right, let's get it. Let's see if I can get it right this time.
If God has many names, then how come the only time people have a problem with how we identify God is when we put an African name and identity on it? Same thing with the Orisha and the Loa. They have the same spiritual hierarchy as angels and saints, but don't nobody argue about angels and saints existing or being demonic. But as soon as you give them an African name and identity, all of a sudden they're demonic and we worship the devil. Who said that? If God has many names.
All right, so y'all hear that, right? If God has many names,
People have a problem with how we identify
then why
God
is it a problem?
Is when we put an African name and identity.
Let me stop it. So, what's the problem when we use African or indigenous names to describe God versus the traditional Christian way, right? So I want y'all to think about that, because what we say in the New Covenant is that we're going back to our ancient ancestors. Our ancestors are the ones who watch over and protect us in the same regard as Christians look at angels, right? So check this. Y'all come to the temple and check it out. But let's keep it pushing. Let me get out of here. Let's keep it pushing. We got to keep it pushing. All right, let's get it cracking. So now we're moving into a little bit different. I just want y'all to get a little piece of that spirituality before we get into the nook of the cranny. So now we're gonna kind of get into more of the law and the civics end of these things. I'm gonna kind of gradually bring you into this. All right. So check this. Let's get to this.
Blacks, if you want to be technically to the foundational blacks, if you want to be technically correct, you are foundational Americans. Black comes from the United States, and the United States themselves with the 14th Amendment said all of those that we enslaved were born here before the United States was formed. So the 14th Amendment is telling you that you are foundationally American. They put that black terminology on you when they made their census in 1790. That is not when your story starts. Your story starts in 1682, before the United States was even formed to call you black. And those who they were enslaving in 1682, per the Virginia law, are North Africans and North American Indians. So that has to be the same people freed, because Dred Scott was born into slavery. The 14th Amendment overturned the law that you could be born into slavery from 1682. You are foundationally American. The United States made you low-classly black.
All right, so y'all hear that? Now she's not a Moor per se, right? And if y'all go, y'all can probably check out some of her stuff. But what I wanted to show was, okay, because Free national lessons. We are not black. We are not black, Negro, or color. Okay. We do not use those terms to describe us because they are colors they're colors, right? And they don't describe a national people. Nobody else is called that around the world. You know, Spanish, Portuguese, name a country. That's what they are. They don't put the term black or Negro or colored on any of those. Those do not denote anything but slave terms. So she said the key thing, because we got the brother not Umar Johnson, but what's the brother who does the foundational Black American, right? He's coined that term, and he's also copywritten it. But what she's saying is we're not foundational black. Once you put the black on there, you've negated everything. She said we're foundational Americans. She said that there was two groups that is covered when the 14th Amendment. It was supposed to be the North Africans, which was the Moors. She didn't say Moors, but that's what the Africans are symbolizing, is us Moors under that title, and the indigenous people of this land, which were us as well. A lot of us, as you know, we're dark skinned, so a lot of us were already indigenous here, and then there were other Moors who came prior to slavery and actually being enslaved that were brought over here. So you got those two groups. So I want you to understand that free national lessons, that they're the indigenous Moors and they are the African Moors. Check. Y'all go back and rewind this and check this out. So we get into it. So let's go on. Now we know we just had Juneteenth, right? We just had Juneteenth a couple of days ago, and I did a video on that. You guys should check out the video that I did on that. But this right here gives a little bit a better overstanding of Juneteenth. I'm just one more video that I need. I should have put this in on the last video, but I didn't get a chance to, so we're gonna do it today. So tell me what y'all think.
Well, most people don't know that the Emancipation Proclamation did not end slavery.
Of course not.
You talk about the Juneteenth, or Order 3 from General Granger. It did not end slavery. It ended slavery for people who were in the states that were in rebellion for the United States. Slavery didn't end until 1865 in December, with the 13th Amendment. And most people don't know that. Matter of fact, I was with some folks last night with this Ezra Coffee business, and they were talking about the Emancipation Proclamation and how it freed all slaves. I said, that's not true.
All right. 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment is something that we do talk about, and it's very important because 13th Amendment talks about the ending of slavery. Some people say, oh, it's not ended. The 13th Amendment said there shall no longer be any voluntary servitude or slavery. So 13th Amendment ended, well, I shouldn't say voluntary, but involuntary. Involuntary servitude and slavery was ended with the 13th Amendment. If you didn't know that, this is what you're learning today. This is the civic side of the lesson. Now, I want you to understand, though, when you read it, it doesn't say that voluntary servitude is illegal. So that's where people get it all construed, where they're like, the 13th Amendment didn't end slavery. It didn't end slavery in that way. It ended involuntary slavery, what they call involuntary servitude. It ended that. But now they contract you out into slavery, aka employing. To be employed is a form of servitude. And you contract yourself to do that. So you voluntarily do these things now. So where you didn't have a choice, now they make you feel like you have a choice, but you don't. If you want to do certain things, you want to have money, you want to do certain things, it kind of coerce you into having to do these contracts. So that's what the 13th Amendment is. 13th Amendment is a amendment that is primarily for melanated people, so-called black, Negro, colored, that are actually the Moors. Okay, that's your lesson. So let's get deeper, because we need to get into the sovereign citizen. This is the part that get us in trouble. I got so many brothers, so many sisters calling me about things that they've gotten themselves into. And y'all are not legally minded. This is why we got to have these lessons. This is the lesson. We got to show you what's really going to happen to you when you go in court, because you really don't know. You only can speculate before you get there. All right. So these are short clips. We're going to go and break these down, though. Let's go into these. All right. Let's go. Let me get it right.
You would see that I surrendered my state ID and I have a passport, right? I have no contracts with the sector whatsoever. So,
all right. First thing he's saying, one of the things that we have a misconception of, that if we don't have a contract with them, then we automatically assume that we don't have an agreement, that we don't have to follow the law. This is one of the things we learned. Queen Val, a lot, and others say that, all right? But I just want you to understand, when you say these things, are you ready for the argument? Because it's not going to just go and lay down, all right? So let's listen.
You just
They
have
wrote me a
the
ticket. They
United
wrote me a-
States
they
of
wrote me a
America,
ticket.
which is an even higher jurisdiction than us.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Right. So the SOS, I don't have no contracts with them. And if you run it,
So just because you don't avail yourself of the formal process doesn't mean that you cannot be held to the standards and rules of the Secretary of State's office. That's not how this works. So you don't sever ties. That's not how it works. If you avail yourself to the rules, if you allow yourself to get into a vehicle and drive on the streets in the state of Michigan, in the city of Detroit, you have now automatically availed yourself to the laws, to the civil infractions, to the misdemeanors which lie within this state and the city bounds.
That's not what the Constitution says. And you took an oath.
I did.
Right.
I took lots of oaths too, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
I done took all kinds of oaths.
Hey, now I want you to see something too, right? Because you got, like, you're going to notice something with most of these videos. These videos are going to have melanated judges that are adjudicating against these people. Because why? They're always using so-called black, Negro, and colored to attack, right? They're the most, they can use them to be more aggressive and more intimidating to people who come into the courtroom. So I just want you to hear how sassy the judge is. Now, I'm not saying that she's wrong or that he's wrong. I want you guys to understand these are the lessons that when you go into the court, are you prepared for the argument? This has got to get you prepared.
To be an attorney, to be a judge, to be, when I graduated from college, I'm sure I took some oaths. I've taken oaths. And that's why I can say with a straight face and a clear conscience that I am following the rules of the state of Michigan and the city of Detroit when I say that they have the ability and the right to write tickets to people who travel, go upon the city streets of the city of Detroit, the state of Michigan, and to issue tickets to individuals.
All right. Now, this is, like I said, these are short clips. So y'all write to me, y'all write in the comments, what would be your response to that? Okay. Because apparently you cannot go in there talking that talk and think that that's going to just fly. My first question is going to be with many of these, And I want you to understand this. If you're going to court, you're going to need to file motions before you get in the courtroom. Okay, that's the first thing. You can't go in there just talking to talk. You're going to have your stuff filed. You're going to have motions filed with case law in most cases with your information, saying why, based on case law, that I don't have to have this, or whatever you have, you're going to need to file that. You see how they're not playing? They're not playing. All right. So let's go to the next one. Let's go to this next one. This one is another arrest. So we got another person that was trying to travel. This is a big thing. A lot of people don't have driver's license, right? And I definitely have been a person who tested the system by not having a driver's license. All right. So let us see how this is gonna turn out. Let's go look at this one. All right.
With
You have a driver's license?
Nope. No, I don't have one of those.
This is an older brother too.
Telling him it's in a private estate.
Okay. I'm gonna hand this back to you, sir. So, have you ever had a driver's license in the state of Florida?
No.
Any other state in the country?
I have none of those. Haven't had one. Don't use them.
Okay. What's your first name?
You can call me Anthony.
Is that your government name, or?
That is my given.
All right. So y'all can see where this is going already, right? Like I said, if you're going to travel without a license, you're going to be harassed. You're going to have problems with the law, and you will possibly be arrested. I'm just letting you guys know. It comes with the territory.
Okay, sir. So here's what's going to end up happening. Okay, if you do not identify yourself, you will be going to jail. I would hate to do that.
I'm giving you my identification.
That's not a valid identification.
Anthony, state of Florida, you need a driver's license to drive. It's that simple.
No.
So if you don't have a driver's license, you can go to jail. That's what's going to happen.
All right, so y'all hear that? If you don't have a driver's license, you're going to jail. The police are not going to play along with your games. So, and I understand if you're giving them your free national identification, right? That is a form of identification. But they only want to see a driver's license. You understand? They only want to see a driver's license. So you can even give them a passport, like the first video. It's not a valid driver's license. You can give them your state ID. It's not a valid driver's license. And if you give them your free national ID, that's not a driver's license. So you got to give them some form of a driver's license. And they're looking for a state driver's license. That's all I'm going to say. So you understand where I'm coming from. If you're going to give them something, it's got to be some type of driver's license. It's got to be something that shows that you can drive. Even though you hear the word drive, I get it. We're not driving, we're traveling. That's not going to fly. Let's check it out.
Today.
I'm trying to be respectful to you,
I
sir.
am too. A license is not.
I already told you what's going to happen. That's where we're at. We're not playing the game today.
This isn't even. That's not a passport.
No, it's not.
All right.
Don't even have a passport.
Traveling upon and transporting
You have a
one's
driver's license, Anthony?
traveling upon and transporting one's property
One more
upon
time. Do you have a
public
driver's
roads,
license, Anthony?
which is a
Anthony,
right.
hold on. Before this,
We're done with this. Go ahead and step out of the vehicle.
They're not playing.
Do it now.
They're not playing.
Out of the vehicle.
All right. All right.
You're not playing.
Coming out. Vincent,
You don't have to talk to him right now, sir.
Vincent,
Turn around, put your hands behind the back. Don't resist.
you
Stop.
got my.
You see what I'm saying? They are not playing. Okay, being a Moor does not mean you're sovereign. These are our civic lessons today. Okay, being a Moor is important to your understanding of your heritage and culture, and it is important for the law, but it's not in this way. Okay, and I've done it myself to understand this. This is why, as your chief, your Moorish chief here, I got to tell you guys what's not going to work. This is why I had to bring these lessons so that you can see them, right? Don't get me wrong. I've shown videos where there are some people, particularly some Moors sometime, or other people that have been able to get away and not be arrested. But the chances of that is a 50-50. You're gambling when you do that. All right? Because you guys don't really understand the law. So this is why it's very important for you to not try any of these things until you have a full grasp of the law and that you have certain backing behind you to even do this before you even get out here and do this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just letting you know. The sovereign citizen, and another thing, I know a lot of us, we say we're not sovereign citizens. We don't, because you know that term is like the worst term to use in court because they're going to automatically slam the book on you, right? So you're like, oh, I'm not a sovereign citizen, right? But are you using sovereign citizen tactics? And does the state recognize them as sovereign citizen tactics? All right. So let's look at that. Before we get into this next video, though, let me hit you with an ad. All right. Yes, knowledge is for the people. Get your books today on indigenousmoors.org. Your one-stop shop for indigenous needs. And y'all can get our books, all our books. You can get King L. Bey's books. You can get Abdullah Bey's books. You can get Amin Ma'at Ra books. You can get my books all on indigenousmoors.org. Y'all check out the site. Let's go.
So
on
you
this
telling
next
me the
video.
United States codes don't work?
No, I'm telling you, you don't know them. So first
I have
of all,
it right here.
the United States codes don't work in Georgia because Georgia has its own code. OCGA.
So the meaning of driver is different in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
But according to 49
Mr. Bey, Mr. Bey, I'm not doing this.
All right. So all right. So right there, y'all seen that, right? Hold on. I should play it again, man. Let me play this one more game. Let me play. It was short, so let's play it again. See if it plays.
So you telling me United States codes don't work?
No, I'm telling you, you don't know them. So first
I have
of all,
it right here.
the United States codes don't work in Georgia because Georgia has its own code. OCGA.
So the meaning of driver is different in Georgia.
Yes, sir.
But according to 49.
Mr. Bey, Mr. Bey, I'm not doing this.
Okay, so you see how she was shutting it down. Boom. She shut it down. Now, what does she mean by that? All right. Georgia has its own laws. Those courts are inferior courts. When you are in Georgia, you are in inferior courts. So the laws that are being used are Georgia laws. If you go into a court citing federal law in a Georgia court, they're not going to listen to you. So you got to understand that. If you go in there talking about constitutional law, you better be talking about the Constitution of the state that you're in, not the federal Constitution. Okay? that will not apply in that court. She just said it. Oh, that don't apply. How do you make it apply? You're going to have to go over her head. Okay. You're going to have to go and fight it and say, is the Georgia law constitutional? Is it in sync with the law of the federal government? And if it's not, then you can argue that, but it's not going to be argued in her courtroom. You're going to have to go to another higher court, which would be like a appellate court. Okay. You'd have to go to some type of appellate court and appeal her ruling. So it's not like you can go in there and you guys got to understand that. I got a brother now. This is for you. This is for you. You cannot go in there talking about another court, another state, or federal law while you're in there. And you've seen that the brother was a Bay, so he was a Moor, right? So I'm saying the Moors are going in here using the sovereign citizen tactics, right? And they're labeling them sovereign citizens. So I'm just letting you guys know that that's not the move. Okay? Not the move. So let's keep it pushing, We gonna keep this going and going. So I got another video. Like I said, we got tons. Like if y'all go, it's like tons and tons of clips on sovereign citizens, right? So let's look at this one. Sovereign citizen tries the state can't be the victim. This is a good one. This is a good one because they always say that you can't, that the state is not the victim, right? So I want you to understand. Y'all think that like the judges is gonna roll over what you say, like, oh, I need to be confronted by the person who's convicting me. They often use the term corpus delicti. Okay, so let's look. Check it out. Check this.
Who is the victim? Who did I injure?
The citizens of the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan are the.
He hit him with the I'm gonna keep it a buck. I used to do this back in the day, and they really wasn't saying that. Like what they tried to tell us was the officer is the representative for the state, and they're the ones talking in whatever. Woo. This is, he went a whole nother way. He said, who did I harm? Right? That's the corpus delicti. You know, it's got to be a physical body or somebody who was harmed. What is the state? What is the state considered? The state is the people. In reality, when we think of the state, we think, oh, the state is some kind of cold-hearted, mechanical entity that's fictitious, that is ran by government. That's what we believe. Am I right or wrong? But in reality, the state is the people. I'm just going. Hey, y'all can be mad if y'all want to. All right, let's go.
The state cannot be a victim. And if that's the case,
I said the citizens of the city of Detroit and the state of Michigan are the victims.
You hear that? The city, the people in the city are the victims. So he's saying, so what the judge is saying, that this person has violated all the people's rights. The people have been violated. Is that right or wrong? I know the sovereign citizens is going to jump in here, and I need y'all to jump in here. I don't need y'all coming in here trying to argue with me and tell me I'm stupid and none of that. This is not what we're doing here. Okay. What I'm really just saying is that these are the arguments. These are the arguments that are going to be presented to you when you try to fight it in court. Most of us are not that adept to go into court and handle when they actually throw it back at you. You know, we're used to talking to our peers and they're going along with what you're saying. And I mean, they're not judges. They're not lawyers. They don't, They don't have argument that's needed. These are the arguments that you're going to come across. All right. So I'm just letting you know, y'all. I really want people to get in the comments and put input on what they have, believe, so we can have a serious dialogue with this, right? This is a lesson. This is our lessons for us Moors at the temple, for us to be prepared and understand what happens when we're dealing in certain predicaments. When you're driving without a license, how you're going to handle it for real? How you going to really handle that? And seeing the consequences right here is real. It's real life. So, you know, a lot of people are not really prepared. A lot of y'all just learning this stuff. So y'all don't even know. But there's a whole bunch of this going on. You hear me? Like, look at this. You know, we got the other thing. You know, they talk about the trust, the beneficiary of the trust. Okay? We're going to get into that too. Because, I mean, you the beneficiary of what trust? The trust, excuse me, the trust is the, you know, it's the trust that was made for you when you were born through your birth certificate. And then they add the social security number to it. So people are trying to either get control of their trust that was created by the government, allegedly, right? Or when they go to court, they're trying to use that tactic in court, right? So let's go. Let's see what it say. Let's see what they do. All right, let's see what they do. Hold on, let me get it right.
The trust that we are now administrating is the Kevin Pollard Trust, Your Honor. If so, Kevin Pollard is in fact present today. It is you that is Kevin Pollard, Your Honor. It is you.
Really?
Yes, Your Honor.
Really?
It is you that is,
Really?
that is Kevin Pollard. Yes, Your
I'm
Honor.
Kevin Pollard.
You are Kevin Pollard today, Your Honor. I am the beneficiary.
And then who are you?
I am the beneficiary of the trust.
Okay, well, Mr. Beneficiary, take you and your trust back to jail.
I have some questions for the clerk, Your Honor.
No.
I have. Can I speak to the clerk before we go any further?
You know what? I'm put you in timeout. Get your mind
right. Hey, man. You see how they put the melanated judges on us. You see how they're putting the melanated judges on them. Now, there are, you know, other judges that are other ethnicities that are on the bench as well that we'll watch at some other point. But all these right here are pretty much melanated, and I know why. Like I said, the melanated people know how to handle the stress better, and they know how to handle their own, especially like these Moors, right? So I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying, like, what are we gonna do? See, the thing about the whole trust theory is that you want to try to get control of the trust. You're the beneficiary of the trust. So what does that mean? You are benefiting from the trust. The social security number can be used to get you benefits. And that's what beneficiaries usually are. In the trust, they usually reap the benefits of the trust. But beneficiaries don't control the trust. You see what I'm saying? So for him to go in there and say he's a beneficiary, how is that going to assist him? You understand? Him being a beneficiary of the trust. How is that going to benefit him when he doesn't have control? Who controls the trust? Well, in this theory, the government controls the trust because the government created the trust in your name. So the government is either the grantor, right, and the executor. Who's the executor? Right? You have people now. He said he's the beneficiary of the trust. I've heard people say they're the executor of the trust. But are they really the executor of the trust? Are you really? You're really the beneficiary, like he said. You benefit from that trust that was made up. if you voluntarily want to use it. It's that simple, right? So I'm just saying, these are Moorish lessons. These are free national lessons. This is not what Moors are supposed to be doing. I got the brother right here again. Now we're going to get into these license plates. And this is why the temple doesn't do the plates in the same way as your sovereign citizen does. All right, let's go into this. This is supposed to be a little longer. Hopefully it won't glitch out or nothing, but let's see what they're saying.
I read these cases, it says exactly the ones that I've read, and I've seen these cases filed before, it says exactly the opposite of what you're trying to say. Because what I understand you're trying to say is that you're trying to say that you don't need a valid driver's license to drive on the roads, you don't need proper registration on your vehicle, and you don't need proper insurance, and you're even going as far as saying that the police officers, and correct me if I'm wrong, that the police officers do not even have the authority to pull you over. Is that correct?
Again, Your Honor, I remain mute to the situation. Again, I reply, my mother is here. No due respect to the court. My matriarch is here. And I gave you pretty much documents to read. And I'm standing on those documents and I'm gonna remain mute. Thank you.
All right, so I've already found you guilty of the count of refusing to exhibit a driver's license, SP 1464091. I'm going to fine you on that case $240. I've already found you responsible on SP 1463901, expired plate. I'm going to fine you $145 on that. And I've already found you responsible on SP 1463903, insurance no proof, and I say guilty on SP 1464091, and that's a 240 for the insurance no proof. I'm going to fine you $195.
Yo, okay, so you'll see how you see what I'm saying. They just ran through him. They railroaded him. Wasn't trying to hear nothing he was saying. First thing, what kind of paperwork did he file? Judge said he already found him guilty. What kind of paperwork did he file? Did he file motions? Or did he file affidavits? Because a lot of the Moors, a lot of the sovereign citizens, Moors, will file affidavits instead of motions. They say, oh, filing a motion gives them jurisdiction. You're already in their courtroom. You're already under it, whether you're under it through threat, duress, and coercion if you want to be, but you're in there. You're already in their jurisdiction. So if you're not filing the proper paperwork in the rules that apply, because in the court, there are rules that you have to follow for that courtroom. Most of us don't understand that. So you have civil rules of procedure, criminal rules of procedure, and we've talked about this before. But I want to show you, I'm showing you how this is going to play out in court if you don't have the proper training and understanding. If you're not going there under the proper pretense. If you're going in there sovereign, then no. If you're going in there as religious, and if you're using religious doctrine, you stand a better chance of a better result if you're going in there under religion. So you better get it together, because this is being a Moor, even under the Moorish Science Temple. That's not how it works. It's a religious institution, and the Moorish Temple of New Kemet is a religious institution. So we're going to use religion and not the civics in that particular way. It's not going to work. You're seeing that now, right? So let's go. I think I got one more. Now this one right here, it's interesting. If any of you Moors have been like studying the post office and being able to use the post office as a bank, if you will, or things of that nature, right? Let's show you what will happen if you were dealing in that way. All right. So let's look at this. It says the sovereign citizen alters a postal money order. Okay, that's one of the things they're doing. Postal money order. It says it's a negotiable instrument. Is she wrong though? Isn't a money order a negotiable instrument? It is. We have to look at that. Y'all look at that. Look up the definition of a negotiable instrument. Look it up. Look up a negotiable instrument and see what it says. Now let's see how she's standing on her square though. See, this is the thing. How are you standing on your square? So let's get into this. This is another short clip, another short one. Let's go.
A federal document's been altered and you tried to present it. That's the law.
No, that's a negotiable instrument.
It's a federal document.
Isn't that backed by gold?
It's a federal document.
Isn't that backed by gold?
It's a federal document.
It's a federal document backed by gold?
$55 of it is. We're just going to go around in circles because she's not going to acknowledge anything. So
No, you're not getting this back.
Can I get my check out?
and she's not identifying herself.
Let me give me my check.
Put her
Look at my
document.
check.
Put her document.
For what? That's my check.
Get your hand on it. Put a hand on it.
Listen, you put a hand on
I'm pregnant. Stop.
Okay, well, you're resisting.
All right. Like I said, these is quick videos, right? But look, so she's using. They telling her, right? They telling her that is a. Let's go back. Listen to it again.
A federal document's been altered and you tried to present it.
Now, it's a negotiable instrument, but who created?
No,
who created
that's a
it?
negotiable instrument.
It's a federal document.
Who created it? Who created the document? Who created that document? Was it a federal document? Federal Reserve. We know Federal Reserve is not federal, right? But they do have agreements with federal, just like the money. If you're using, Federal Reserve notes, aka whatever fiat funny money, whatever they call it, if you're using money that was created by the Federal Reserve, they have rules and stipulations on that. In the same regard, they have rules in regard to their negotiable instruments, right? So if you're going to use the post office, which is, regardless, I want to argue about it, I get it. The Postal Service is still part of the federal government in some form or fashion. So when you get a money order from the post office and you alter it, you're defrauding a federal document. Okay. Now, some Moors have been getting away with this, but she's not getting away with it today. Okay. Now, I don't know what her defense is going to be in court, but based on the way she was moving, she don't have the proper defense. She doesn't have it. Moors, these are a lot of the issues and many more other issues that we haven't got into. These are all the issues that you're going to be plagued with and that we're plagued with as people. There's a lot of Moors that are doing a lot of these things out here that are making it difficult for people who are just coming into the movement. If you're just coming into the movement, if you're part of the Moorish Temple in New Kemet, we got to guide you so you have a better understanding of how to approach situations. We do not go about it in a sovereign citizen way. Use your religious rights that are protected by the First Amendment. Okay? Understand what you can use as exemptions, because That's what it is. Moors are culturally and spiritually using their religion to protect them. So this is the lesson, okay, is to go about it through religious doctrine. So on the next one or so, we're going to discuss like the remedy on how to go about these type of things. I just want to show you guys, you know, the raw deal. You know, this is one of the lessons. One of the lessons is learning the raw deal. Okay. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like the video, smash that like button, subscribe, check out the other videos, and I will catch you on our next lesson. Until then, tuta nana.